Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Man, I am excited for today's topic, but you know what? I'm excited for every topic that we get to do together. But Croc, let me ask you this question. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not at all and 10 being the most alpha available, how manly would you say you are? Do I need the Jeopardy
A
theme?
7.5 or 8.
A 7.5 or 8? See, I would have put you probably at around a 9, but okay, 7.5 or 8. We'll get into that in a moment. If you were to ask me that question, I would put myself at a solid 5. I know I'm not an alpha male, but I ain't the bottom of the barrel. I feel like I'm just middle of the road in terms of masculinity. So, family, if you haven't guessed it or if you haven't read the caption below, today we are talking about toxic masculinity. Now, this is a term that's been thrown around a lot on social media. So, Croc, you want to go ahead and define it for us? What would you say in your terms? What is toxic masculinity?
Toxic masculinity. I
Mm.
think that's the part of the male culture where it becomes counterproductive
Okay.
and unbeneficial to anybody. The playing tough and like you don't have any feelings would be an example.
Okay.
And I think we all need to, we all have emotions, and it's okay to show those emotions, but you have to deal with them appropriately in the correct manner. But
Right.
a lot of men try to act like they don't feel anything. You know what I'm saying? I
Hmm.
think that's an example.
See, I think as men, masculinity is not wrong. God designed masculinity and femininity. But I think
Exactly.
where we go wrong, where it becomes toxic, is when it becomes uncontrollable. And
Mm,
God
okay.
defined each and every one of us to have, or He created us to have emotions. But I think we have two ends of the spectrum when it becomes toxic. Either, like you said, we don't show any emotion.
Motion.
We,
Yeah.
we keep everything bottled up, like we don't feel anything. Or we so out of control that the emotions are explosive. And
Yeah. Yeah.
you become like this powder keg of dynamite.
Hmm. I agree. I agree.
And so I think for a lot of us, when we are dealing with our family, our jobs, our friends, we have to be able to strike that balance between no emotion and explosive emotion. Uh-oh.
I feel like a lot of men when you when you do become let's I'm thinking about like when we become vulnerable, I guess would be the word, especially to our mates and our spouses or whoever. I think a lot of men don't open up because they're afraid that it's going to be brought back up and used
Right,
against
right.
them. And me personally, I've been through that. If you live long enough, you're gonna go through it. I feel like because you put yourself out there and then you forget about it. You have your moment during the moment, and then you have to hear about it later on down the road.
Mm.
Sometimes during the argument, sometimes just in conversation.
I feel like that's
So
the difference between having a woman and having a wife.
there you go.
Yeah,
There
I
you go.
think many men
Yeah.
they get caught up in getting a woman, and
Yeah.
that woman will use anything, in terms
Yeah.
of relationships. In those kind of relationships, when you just have a man and a woman, it's always a battle for control. Who's
Mhm.
gonna be the one that's gonna be running this relationship? versus when you have a husband and a wife and the
Yeah.
two are working, in conjunction or
For the
working
common
together.
good. For the common good, you know?
And like, we're gonna have an episode here in the next few weeks, family, when we're gonna be talking about marriage. But just real quick, Croc, let me just drop this dime on you. Like
Okay.
when you have, a man and a woman that are working in conjunction together, you're gonna know each other so well that you know better than to bring up or use stuff from the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you both know each other. You both been working together. You know each other's hurts. You know where one ends and the other one begins.
Right.
So
I feel like if I love somebody, why would I want to say something to hurt them? You know.
right, right,
So yeah, it go, but yeah, I like you said, just in addition to what you said, I wouldn't. If we're trying to love one another and be one, and rise to this level that God wants us to rise to, why would we tear down each other or use our past to hurt one another? You know what I'm saying? So,
absolutely.
but at the same time, we as men, I think we shoulder a lot, and we don't try to show a lot of worry, and so that's one reason why we don't just share as much and just talk as much. You know what I'm saying? Let people really know what's on our minds.
Absolutely. And it comes down to this. Just everything that we're talking about, it becomes about who is in control. And see, a lot of times the masculinity becomes toxic because we're trying to control somebody, or we're
Mm,
trying to control the narrative, or we're trying to control someone else's life because we've been so out of control for so long that the only way that we feel like we can have any type of control is to try to control somebody else. Have you ever seen this play out in real life in any of your situations? I could tell you, off the bat, I have seen time and time again where there have been, a couple out, we could be at a restaurant or we could be uh out at the store, and
yeah.
the woman will do something that the man doesn't agree with, and then he just goes ballistic and causes this scene
Mm,
in front of everyone. And nowadays everybody else is like, "Oh, let me go ahead and get my phone out and
right. Right.
start recording," which makes the whole situation worse.
Elevated. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Uh, I can't think of a situation right offhand, and maybe I'm going in a different direction, but I don't know if it's the same as men using money to control women. I think it might be a different topic.
no, no,
But
no.
I think that's definitely part of the toxic masculinity. Celeste and I were talking about. She seen an image on Instagram or Facebook or something, and it had this man made out of dollar bills, and he was hugging a female, and the
Mm,
caption said she want him for his money, and he just want her for her body.
see,
So it's kind of like a toxic match made in heaven.
exactly,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly. Like I
Yeah.
feel
So
what you're saying right there.
I
That's what
just
you're
feel like
talking about before, a man and a woman versus a husband and a
and
wife.
there you go. There you go. That's the
Like,
difference.
and like they both thinking they trying to get over on each
Yeah.
other, but any relationship that's based off of trying to control somebody else by the resources that you have or trying to use somebody for the resources, those are these relationships that aren't meant to last. And
They won't sustain. They won't last. They're not sustainable.
unfortunately,
They're
we
not.
got too many marriages today that are based off of this principle that
Wow.
I'm the man, I got the money. I'm the woman, I got this, that, and the other. So I'm gonna use what I got to control this other person.
Mm.
All right, so how did we get here? So, what are some myths, or how has toxic masculinity been created in everybody's life or in a man's life? So let's start with myths. That's a multiple questions. So let's go with myths first. So what are
Okay.
some myths that go along with toxic masculinity?
Oh, myths. I don't know, Doc. You started off.
I got one. Real men don't cry.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely,
Have you heard that one in your life, man? Boy,
absolutely,
stop all
absolutely.
that. Man, I
Crying is cathartic, man. Crying is a physical release that biologically makes you feel better.
yeah,
Like it's science. Like it's proven. You know what I'm saying? So I don't. When people say that, like I don't understand now. I'm not gonna cry every day. I'm not gonna tell you I'm gonna
no,
cry every week.
nah, I'm not gonna be a crybaby, but
There you. That's what. There you go. Yeah.
I tell you, if I'm in a situation and you see me start to cry, I'm gonna need for you to back up. Because that
Yeah.
is me literally trying to physically hold back the anger from coming out.
Oh. Well,
And,
yeah. Uh-oh.
and so if you see
Yeah.
tears starting to fall, that's a sign. I need some space right now. But I have seen time and time again out here on the basketball circuit where there's been a young man, something happened. Maybe he done got injured. Maybe they got hurt. Maybe he's like me and he's got that anger starting to build up. And there's this parent out there that's just like berating the child. Like, man, suck it up. Stop that. Don't be no punk. And you could just see how this is like literally destroying the child right there in the moment.
Think about how far that go back though. Think about when you was a child. Now I ain't gonna say your parents did it, but think about young little boys,
Hmm.
toddlers, when they fall and scrape something or get hurt, and it was the first thing we tell them:
Stop it.
"Don't cry, stop crying, you'll be all right."
You be all right.
Like
Stop.
no, they hurting, they
Uh,
hurt, they need to cry. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So when you said that, that point was in my mind, and when you said that first myth, it went right back to what I was thinking. Like we learned that at an early age. Stop crying. I'm hurting though.
Right. And
So that's one that's instilled at a young age.
And you can even see it in the classroom with some teachers that'll treat boys that are going through something differently than a girl that's going through something. Like there's a different emotional response because of what
Yeah,
society has done when you see a boy
yeah.
cry versus when you see a girl cry. And so I guess since we're on this myth, what let's be myth breakers. How can we break this particular myth from continuing to perpetuate in society?
It's gonna start with society because, like you said, as soon as we see a male figure crying,
Hmm.
especially if it's on a regular basis, then it's automatically something said. We ain't asking what's wrong or are you okay and trying to get to the root of it. First thing, we suck it up. You'll be all right. Get over it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first thing I think in society, we got to change how we view that.
I think about young people today that play football and some of the football coaches that are
Yeah.
out there and some of the things that we say to young men, um, and not just basketball or just football, just any sport, and some of the things that we say to young men when they are going through. Or there is this stigma if you're a young man and you end up crying in front of another young man because of our society, there seems to be this judgment that happens with the young man that's in this position that they're crying with. It's like men aren't comfortable enough to go and comfort another man when he's down and when he's crying.
Because that scene is soft, right?
Right,
That's
right.
maybe that's the word. It's soft. You know.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Exactly the word I'm looking for. Like, he's soft. If I go over there and comfort him, then I'm gonna be soft just like him. Nah, suck it up. You got it. Get over
But
it.
I think uh a lot of it go back to parenting as well, and that lack of having a father, not having a man. Now I don't even know if this is gonna be toxic masculinity, the phrase that I'm about to say. and I heard it all my life. A woman can't raise a man. A man need to raise a man.
Mm.
But my mom, God rest her soul, raised three men, all men, all men. So I beg to differ when I hear that phrase. But I say that to say, but we still got to have male figures in our lives to show us, because there is certain things that you need to know as a man.
Correct.
Point blank, period. And I always stand on that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't like the notion of every time a single mother have a son, that the son gonna be soft or he gonna be feminine or something to that nature. You know what I'm saying?
I bet you those young men are probably more emotionally stable because of the strong influence of their mother in their life. And I'm sorry, there's no such thing as bad parenting with a single parent. It's really just good parenting or bad parenting. Because I've seen too many times bad parenting come from two-parent households. And so if you got a good parent, you got a good parent. All right, we can stay on real men don't cry. But all right, so that's myth number one. All right, so I'm gonna give you my second myth, and that's men have to be the dominant one in the relationship. And I think I think that myth goes all the way back into caveman days. This is caveman thinking, where the caveman is out there in,
Earning,
being the hunter, the
yeah.
gatherer. It's that hunter gatherer mentality, and the woman is going to be the weaker sex, and so she can't be dominant. But here's what I've learned in marriage: there are things that I am good at, and there are things that my wife is good at. And so there are things that I'm going to be more dominant in. So in terms of just my own, I'm gonna let you in. I'm gonna open the door and I'm gonna let you in, family, a little bit into the doctor family. All right. So um when it comes to finances, those are the things that I'm stronger in. And so setting the budget, making financial decisions, saying, hey, we need to pull back in this area because we spending too much. Those are things that I'm really dominant in my household. But at the same time, in terms of scheduling, these are the things that my wife is really good at. And so letting us know this is where people need to be. This is what we got going on. This is what you need to do at this time. You need to call this person, that person. Let me know when you've accomplished those tasks. She keeps me on task in those things. And so together we've been able to really work well. And those are just a couple of examples. But I'm going to turn it over to you, Crop. In your own marriage, where do you dominate and where does your wife dominate?
I ain't never thought about that.
You ain't realize this particular one was gonna be challenging you.
Where am I dominant at? I probably do more of the cooking.
Mm-hmm.
I probably do more of the cooking. Budget, I think we kind of both. I think we kind of both at neck and neck on the budget.
Okay.
I tend to look a little deeper, but she also has the flip side of it. You know what I'm saying? Well, if I'm looking at maybe this costs that. That's why we spending so much on this area or something like that. So I think we kind of neck and neck on that area, and we come together and make a pretty good team when
Yes.
it's all said and done.
Yes, y'all.
She's the better planner, hands down. Hands down, she's the better planner. I'm trying to think finances. What else?
I'm gonna use my gift of discernment here, and just from the little bit I know, y'all, I'm gonna point some things out to you, and you tell me if I'm on track or not. But one of the things I've noticed that you real gifted at is guidance in articulating a vision for your family.
Okay.
And at
Okay.
the same time, I've noticed that she's real gifted in the area of keeping the family encouraged. And so that gift of
Absolutely
encouragement.
1000%.
So
Absolutely 1000%. Yes.
I've
Yeah.
definitely seen
Yeah.
that in our interactions. And so
She the glue. She the glue. Like I say, we're a blended family. So and she's exceptional at bringing everybody together. You know what I'm saying? So like those holidays, she already sent out text messages and told them what time we're gonna be at the house, what time we're gonna eat. She already done all that. Me, guess what I'm doing? I'm planning the meal. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
you back
I'm
there
planning the meal while you doing all that. I'm working on the food. So absolutely 1000%. She's the glue, and she's the I say she's a visionary too though, because Celeste is a big dreamer.
Mm.
And when I say that, I'm not saying she's in fantasy land, but she wants everything God has in store for us, and not just us, like the entire family. You know, when you connect it to a lot of people don't realize, even adults, like when you connect to somebody that's blessed, like the blessing's gonna flow.
The
You know what
blessing
I'm saying?
flow right on to you.
They're gonna flow right off of that person, flow onto you. So we're in that phase right now, trying to get those blessings to flow down to the kids, and to trying to build. We in the midst of trying to build that legacy, man, to leave something. You know what I'm saying? So I would actually probably give her the visionary, actually, Doc,
Mm.
to keep it honest with you,
Hey, it's
because she always asked me, "Will you see us in 5 years?" I'm like, "I'm chilling." I'm chilling. Like I can't believe God that gave me what He gave me, and I didn't even see this. You know what I'm saying? So when she asked me, and then she'll ask me out the blue. She would, just like you just asked me how you caught me off guard. She'll ask me like, "We'll be doing something. Will you see us in 10 years?" I'm like, and now every man's supposed to have a vision for the family, right? And that's one of the
yeah.
I ain't gonna say it's toxic, but that's one of the responsibilities they place on the head of the house, which is typically said to be the man, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something she be catching me on guard. And I was like, babe, I just I take it day to day. You know what I'm saying? You hope for tomorrow, but plan for So
God told us to have a vision for the family. He didn't
right.
say we couldn't get that vision from our wife and use that. So
There you go.
for y'all working in conjunction and
The best managers are the ones that delegate people to their strengths. I always say that.
exactly.
Those are the best managers that utilize people and where they strong at. And I try to manage the family. That's all I can do. It's
And,
trial and error. Because like, guess what? I've never been married, so it's a on the job experience. I have to remind her that it's on the job. I'm learning as I go.
and I
So
love how God designed this thing for us to be in balance. I think, we're talking about how society has influenced toxic masculinity. I got to fault the church on some of this because I think the church twists a lot or traditional teaching by some individuals within the church
yeah,
has taken what Ephesians has said in Ephesians chapter 6 about family and women submit yourself to the husband. The
yeah,
church has used that to create this imbalance
yeah.
in marriage. But you got to read the whole scripture to see how God has designed everybody to have a role or a part in the marriage. And
And Doc, correct. And I know somebody said this to me, and like I say, I'm paraphrasing, but I don't know if it's a verse in the Bible. But God didn't take one woman from our feet or our legs, and He didn't take it from our head to be above us. He didn't take it from our feet or legs to be beneath us, but He took from the real so we could be equal.
yes,
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people, I had a friend, and like I said, I would never mention their name on air or their spouse, but they had problems before they even got married. They had problems with the vows based on what the Bible said about the man being the head of the house. So they had to rewrite them things. You know what I'm saying?
the man is the head of the house, meaning that he's the one accountable.
Just submit what you just said. Submit. They ain't want to say that.
He accountable to God for everything that happened to the
Yeah,
family. If you keep
absolutely.
reading your Bible, James chapter 3 says the teachers of the law, the ones that are judged most harshly. And so if God has called the man to be the priest of the home, then he is the teacher of the law in the home. He's the one that's going to be judged most harshly for everything that happens in the family. That's what that whole thing means. But
Right.
if you read Ephesians chapter 6, I believe the man has the tougher job. It says, wives, submit to your husband. Okay, fine. Follow his direction. But it also says, husband, love your wife as
As
God loved the church. That is harder to do than submission.
submitting. Yeah.
Because if I gotta love my wife as God loved the church, then that means that any situation I need
No
to be
matter what.
prepared and ready to lay down my life. Any situation, if I have, you gotta be blessed.
Yeah.
Anything that I have, if I'm loving God or if I'm loving my wife like God loves me, anything I have is yours. So
Everything.
to me, and I'm not just talking about financially, everything, all my hopes, all my dreams, everything that I want to accomplish, that's yours now. And so to me, which one is the harder? To me, that the loving your wife as God loved the church is the harder job. But I think we have taken this thing so out of context to say, well, she got to submit to me, so I'm in control. I'm the man. Everything's going to be how I want it to be.
And that's crazy to even. It's a lot of men that feel like that, though. It's a lot of men that feel like that. I don't even
told us. He said, Daddy got to be the one to get the big piece of chicken.
Now, in that situation, you're right. In that situation, say Daddy, that big, that leg, that's mine. That breast, that's mine.
Well, especially if it's our two house and Daddy doing the cooking, Daddy cooked it, Daddy getting the big piece of chicken,
and Daddy get that first piece of big chicken too. Not just the big piece, the first. That is the first to get served.
Well, that's because we gotta taste it to make sure it's seasoned right.
There you go. It's a lot of there you go.
It's a lot of responsibility when you're doing the cooking in the house.
Exactly. But I think they, like you say, they took that verse and they ran with it. I think some men use it as a way to control, their spouses, and these women and these new women, they ain't submitting. So some of these women don't believe in that.
No.
Because they're taking it literally, but it don't mean submit. Like it mean let him lead. Are you willing to let him lead?
Are you gonna follow his?
On the flip side, the man gotta have enough sense to lead. Because ain't no woman going when they right mind, ain't gonna follow no man who don't know where he's going. And I guess that's why my wife asked me that periodically, like, okay, what's the vision? Mm-hmm. What we doing?
Where we going?
Where we going? We headed.
Well, here's the thing. The way God designed us, if you as the man have the vision, this is why she needs to know. This is why we need to tell our wives what our hopes and dreams and plans are. Because God didn't give man a womb. He gave woman a womb. And what does a womb help a woman to do? It helps the woman give birth, conceive.
Ideas to everything, the home.
So it's not just to create a person. He's going to be the one to give birth to all of your hopes
and dreams and ideas.
Goals. So this is how we change from toxic masculinity to healthy masculinity when we realize that she's not meant to be controlled, but meant to work together. And
I think, man, it's hard being a man. A black man. I'm gonna say I think it's hard being a black man in America.
Yes.
And I think some of that toxicity, it comes from some of that pressure and responsibility that we face. So I think it's a reason for it in some cases, Not all the time, but I think it's rooted in it's rooted somewhere.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
if you think about it, there are almost as many black men in prison
Right.
as there are black men in the home. You know, a two-parent, you know, hey, daddy's here, home. And so with that many men, when they come out of prison, in prison, masculinity, you almost have to have toxic masculinity in order to survive
In prison, absolutely.
in that environment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And when you come out of prison and come into the community, you can't just turn it off. There
It
is
don't work like that. It don't work like that.
off switch.
You institutionalize. That's a mentality.
Yes.
You institutionalize.
And so if we ever want to come to a point that we can break this cycle, particularly in, you know, our own community, then we got to stop this pipeline. And I don't know about you, Crop, but that's one of the main reasons I became a teacher. It's like I wanted to be on the front line, being able to change the narrative.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just being someone, a black male that another black male can put eyes on and say, I ain't got to be in the street. I ain't got to be doing something illegal to make it and be successful. And whether y'all think teachers are successful or not, we ain't out there getting in trouble. We ain't going to jail. So, excuse me.
Yes, because we all have a background check every year.
And no matter what the respect level is, we pay our taxes, we go to work every day, and we contribute to society. So we're successful. Now, what your definition is, to each his own. But I definitely look at myself as successful, especially having been lived to 48 and ain't never been locked up or been in, well, you know. I had a few. I can't completely say that, but I don't have a record. How about that? I'll say it like that. I don't have a criminal record.
You don't have a record. You ain't never been in prison. You ain't incarcerated.
Exactly. So for me, that's what teaching was for me, man, to actually see somebody, because I didn't have a lot of black male teachers. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was for me.
I could tell you I had 2 in my life.
Wow.
Male teachers up until when I got to college, and then I guess I got 3. But the 2, one of them was my own dad. So I've always had, you know, this in my mind, like, you know, men can be teachers, black men can be in the classroom. But I'm thankful that I have the opportunity to live this legacy, to live his legacy, because I've seen firsthand him change the lives of young people, young men, young women, to be who they are today. Because you know what, my dad, he was my 6th grade math teacher, so a lot of the students, you know, were my friends, and so I can still see them on Facebook and see what they're doing in their life. But at the same time, I don't just call myself Doc. I don't just have the nickname. I actually do have a doctorate. And I think personally, I'm raising a generation of young people who are going to go on and be doctors because they've seen someone in their life that has done it.
That's good stuff. Absolutely.
Man, family, I tell you, when I say I love what I do, I'm so blessed that God has given me this. I really do. And I love the fact that you have been with us, for some of you for years. And some of you, this is your first introduction to the Doc and Croc show. Not all the time, we don't do jokes. Sometimes we tell you what stuff you need to know going on in your life. So, man, we only got a couple of minutes left, Croc. So, any last thoughts on our topic of, man, we started with toxic masculinity, but man, we went all around the relationship.
Yeah, I would just say to the men, find your level of masculinity that works for you. Don't try to what's the word I'm looking for? Compromise for society. And then women, allow your man to be vulnerable without any
pushback.
or reminders.
Yeah.
Reminders. We because trust me, we know when we cry. If we cry, trust me, we remember the last time we cried. Most of us remember the last time we cried. So we don't need you to remind us. You know what I'm saying? Allow us to be vulnerable. And I think that can we just need that space to be vulnerable. That's what I would say.
And if your man cry in front of you, take that as a sign that he trusts you. Not
Exactly.
that he's weak,
Absolutely.
but he
Absolutely.
trusts you. And to my men out there, I'm gonna just echo everything that Crop just said, but I'm gonna put a little twist to it and just say, be comfortable in your own skin. You can define what masculinity means for you. And so if you enjoy cooking and crocheting, then go be a man and cook and crochet.
Absolutely.
If you enjoy romantic comedies, then go ahead and enjoy your romantic comedies. Don't let anybody put you in
some of them are funny. Some of them are actually funny.
For real. And it's just a good time to have with your wife. So,
Doc, I do want to say one thing though.
Yes, sir.
I still think it's okay, 1,000%, for a man to be a man and a woman to be a woman.
Absolutely.
Because that's the way we're going to keep the human race moving forward. So it is okay for you to be a man and it's okay for her to be a woman. Please.
Absolutely. And that's
we need those in the world in more ways than one.
We're going to drop it right there and say, family, we love you. Peace.
We out.